Hey, it's me, just recording here from the classroom. Um, Hopefully, you can see this. You can see me. You can wave. No days off in the background. Um, if you just look real quickly, what I wanted to show you was two things. I want to show you how to access the website. And the other thing I want to show you is why we write in English too. So, the first thing, you go to wheelersburg.net. Hopefully, I can scroll up there. Okay, let me get my backup mouse. There we go. See? Okay. You go to staff web pages, scroll through. You find Satan's name. There he is. That's me. Okay. And now you will see my web page come up. You see the supply list right there. If you have any issue getting a supply, let me know, and I'll get you the hookup with that supply. AP summer work. Contemplate this question: what do you seek? And I wonder how many people will write about normalcy if they choose to answer that. But if you go over to the site of project resources, you go to vocabulary project, all English 2 students. So that's college prep and general. Click on it. Bada bing, bada boom. The PDF comes up with directions. You got to handwrite the definitions, so you'll have to attach those as a picture. If you know how to send goofy pictures to your friends, you should be fine. Please don't put like the little dog ear things on your definitions, though. Word cousins, snap caps, everything that we went over when we went over this, you submit it through Google Docs. Go back to my webpage. Reading project for college prep. You click on that, and bada bing, bada boom. You see there's some dates that are changed for discussions. And then if you go to general reading project, and now that I realize that we might be starting a little later than normal, I might have to modify either some of the dates or some of the content, make some of it bonus. We'll see. If you remember it, you hold me to that, good. If you don't remember that I said this in this video, then that's your fault. So that's the first thing I wanted to go over, how to use the website. It's right there. Your homework will go where you see my mouse moving right now. The general reading project is there. If you want the list of weekly spelling, vocab, word parts, we'll assess these somehow, maybe competitively, maybe artistically, maybe using sidewalk chalk, maybe using tacos, who knows. So that's how to use the web page. The second thing I want to talk about is we're going to be doing writing this year. You will do a style analysis of either a poem or an excerpt from a book or a short story. And you'll have to talk about what the theme is. And then you'll do a persuasive essay that incorporates a great deal of analysis on a book called Anthem later in the year. And then we'll have a research paper about Julius Caesar that is incredibly intellectually stimulating. And I know some people hear that and think, oh man, that means it's really hard. Well, we do that for a reason. Okay. The easy way out is for simpletons, and we don't want to be simpletons, but I'll let Dr. Peterson address that. So hopefully we can go full screen with this and you can see it. And I will now concede the floor to Dr. Peterson. Here we go.
The best way to teach people critical thinking is to teach them to write. And I made this little thing that I put online. I don't know, is it in the Psych 434 website? Did I post that rubric for essay writing?
I don't think it actually went through. I think it is still on.
Oh.
Yeah. But
an essay. Oh, that's too bad. It's not on the Psych 434 website even. I updated it. Anyways, I have this guide to writing that if it isn't on the 434 website, it is definitely on the 430 website, and
it will soon be on my website. I'd like to add.
It steps people through the process of writing. Because what's happened now, it's very hard to teach people to write because it's unbelievably time intensive. And like marking a good essay, that's really easy. Check.
He's exactly right. You get a good essay, you did everything well. course, when what you'll need to be used to in here is that when you do write an effective essay, especially on a first draft, is I will still find things that you can improve, but I will also annotate a great deal in the margin or in Google Comments or Google Docs in the comments on what you did well, because yeah, you did a great job on that essay. The next one that comes up you might struggle with. Well, what do? I'm looking up, I'm staring up at this bloody cliff. What do I do? Well, you go back to what you've done before. You find things that your teacher said you did well, and you think, okay, now how can I, he said that I had a very thorough analysis, but it was meaningful. It wasn't just fluff. Okay, well, now I got to apply that in this circumstance. And you'd be surprised once you get through those first steps up that cliff, once you get through that, you'll be all right.
Check A. You did everything right. Right? Marking a bad essay? Oh my God. The words are wrong, the phrases are wrong, the sentences are wrong, they're not ordered right in the paragraphs aren't coherent, and the whole thing makes no sense.
Hopefully, we don't have to have that conversation this year. I don't think I've ever been that blunt, but he makes an excellent point here. When you write a poor essay and you realize that it's poor, as a writer yourself, you will say, "Oh my God, what do I do? Everything is wrong." Well, I guess I just give up. Well, we're pirates. We don't. And my job is to help find those things that you did do well, which he'll talk about in a minute. Find those things that you did do well and then build on those. And writing is a process. It's not, you're not going to write Nobel Prize winning talk the first time. You might, hey, great. But most great writing is done through a process, either of revision or it's a process of continual exercise in a skill known as critical thinking, which he'll get to in a second. But let's hear what he has to say.
So, trying to tell the person what they did wrong, it's like, well, you did everything wrong. Everything about this essay is wrong. Well, that's not helpful either. You have to find the few little things they did half right, and you have to teach them what they did wrong. It's really expensive. And so
when he says it's expensive, and it looks like he's about to cook up some sows here. When he says it's expensive, you expend a great deal of energy as a writer when you struggle, and that's okay. You sacrifice your present contentment of, well, gee, I could be playing Candy Crush right now and enjoying my life. You sacrifice that for the future benefit, and we'll see what that future benefit is. It's like that line in the Clint Eastwood movie when he says, quit your whining and think about what's at the end of the line. When I think about sacrificing the now for the later. Let's take a listen again.
What I did with this rubric was try to address that from the production side instead of the grading side. But the best thing you can do is teach people to write, because there's no difference between that and thinking. And one of the things that just blows me away about universities is that no one ever tells students why they should write something. It's like, well, you have to do this assignment. Well, why are you writing? Well, you need the grade. It's like, no, you need to learn to think, because thinking makes you act effectively in the world. Thinking makes you win the battles you undertake. And those could be battles for good things. If you can think and speak.
Okay, we'll get to that if you could think and speak in a little bit here. But he is exactly right. Why I teach writing and why I teach it the way that you've heard about it is because writing and thinking are very similar. If by thinking we mean critical thinking, analytical thinking, deep thinking, not, well, I think this guy's stupid because he's drinking a mint frappuccino, and that's not what I get when I get a frappuccino at Starbucks. Okay, or I don't like the boots he's wearing. Okay, no. Okay, that's not thinking. Okay, that's pettiness. And it's a low level. Pettiness is a low level of thought. Okay, when you think in petty terms, you're on the bottom of the food chain. Okay, and it's like when that energy bar in that Mortal Kombat game goes down to almost nothing. You're pretty much done if you only deal in lower level thinking. Writing helps train you towards a mindset of higher level thinking. You're able to think more critically, but in a good way. You're able to think more analytically. You're able to see between the whys and the hows of things. Okay, so if you take an example of a book that you may have heard of, the Bible. Okay, there's a book that is not in all the Bibles called the Book of Judith. Okay, and it's about a very strong woman, and they can't tell her what to do, and she does good things. Okay, and she abides by the dictates of God in that case. Well, why did some people say we don't want people reading about that? If you think critically, those are the kind of questions you ask. Well, how do you find out? Well, you got to read it. And then you got to think, okay, well, who are the people that eliminated? Okay, now what did they write? Why did they find this worthy of exclusion? That's critical thinking. And writing is the best way to train that. Okay? It's the best way to train you to think critically and evaluatively and analytically. And he'll tell you what can happen if you do that.
Take, and those could be battles for good things. If you can think and speak and write, you are absolutely deadly. Nothing can get in your way. So that's why you learn to write. It's like, well, I can't believe that people aren't just told that. It's like, it's the most powerful weapon you can possibly provide someone with. And I know lots of people who've been staggeringly successful and watched them throughout my life. I mean, those people, you don't want to have an argument with them. They'll just slash you into pieces.
So think about that. How often when you've been told to write something, have you been told why? Maybe you were, but how many times did you find that reason lacking, or as Jerry Seinfeld would say, a tad off-putting? Okay, it wasn't enough. Why do you have to write this? Well, we need it for the assessment, or it gets you ready for the test, or it's good preparation for the future. What future? Okay, I think in 2020 we're all asking that. What future, right? Okay. Well, we need to get grades in here, or I want to see how well you understand it. Well, you could do that by talking to me. Why are you making me write about this book? Why are you making me write about Julius Caesar, Anthem, Huckleberry Finn, To Kill a Mockingbird, The Outsiders, The Lost Boys, okay, The River, Holes, whatever? Why are you having me write about it? Because if you can think analytically and you can write, and you can train yourself through writing to think analytically, as Peterson says, you will be absolutely deadly. Absolutely deadly. Not physically, okay, but mentally, intellectually. You will be able to find a way to overcome things, to persevere. And you can't learn critical thinking through a bulleted list. Oh, we've got 12 points that we're going to memorize. The 12 hallmarks of critical thinking. 12 rules for critical thinking. You can't memorize that. Because you could be walking down the street, judging, evaluating a situation. Well, let's see, according to Rule 5. No. Because that takes too long, and it's not effective. But if you can train your mind to think critically, analytically, and writing does that better than anything else, and that's why we do that. When we do the style analysis, yeah, you might be reading Black Baby by Anita Scott Coleman, but you'll be thinking about your world. You'll be thinking about how to solve issues in the world. You think about how to solve issues in your life, how to solve issues in other people's lives, because, you are in high school. Right? Everybody's an expert at solving the issues in everybody else's life except their own. Welcome to high school, right? Okay. When we study Anthem, okay, and you see the brainwashing that is implicit to the structure of their mindless society, you'll make connections. Oh, well, maybe there's brainwashing here on the left. Maybe there's brainwashing here on the right. Maybe the people I see in the middle have brainwashed themselves to be in the middle. Okay, and you'll overcome that dark night of the soul for a minute. Okay, and you'll write something that will give you hope for the future if you think critically and analytically, because you'll be absolutely deadly in overcoming obstacles.
Not in a malevolent way. It's like, if you're going to make your point and they're going to make their point, you better have your points organized, because otherwise you are going to look like and be an absolute idiot. You are not going to get anywhere. And if you can formulate your arguments coherently and make a presentation, if you can speak to people, if you can lay out a proposal, God, people give you money, they give you opportunities. You have...
I will not give you money. if you do well. Okay, he's speaking in a broader sense. But he is right. If you can't organize what you want to say and organize it effectively, it will not come across as being well thought out. Okay, so that part about looking and feeling like an idiot, remember that when we go over how to organize body paragraphs, boys and girls.
Have influence. That's what you're at university for. And so that's what you do. Is you're in English, right?
We're all in English.
Languages, anyways. It's like, yeah, teach people to be articulate, because that's the most dangerous thing you can possibly be. So, and that's motivating if people know that. It's like, well, why are you learning to write? Because here's your sword, here's your M16, right? Here's your bulletproof vest. Like, you learn how to use them.
This is why I call this the soul pen lightsaber. Okay? You channel what's in your soul, what's in your heart, what's in your mind about a poem or a book or a play. You channel that into your pen, the soul pen. And then you unleash the power of your mind through that pen, like a soul pen lightsaber. So I'm not the only one. I'm glad I'm not the only one who thinks that way about writing. Are we going to have an ad?
But it's an endless mystery to me why that isn't made self-evident. So that's the sort of thing that can drive you mad trying to sort out. It's like there's a conspiracy to bring people into the education system to make them weaker. So I guess that keeps the competition down. Maybe that's one way of thinking about it. If your students are stupid, they're not going to challenge you.
That's a very pointed statement that he makes. The conspiracy on the part of education to dumb people down. And when I originally saw this, I kind of got what he was saying. But if you look back at a speech a certain president gave at Mount Rushmore, where he made the very same accusation that Dr. Peterson made here. If Dr. Peterson makes the accusation, I don't think he does. He just kind of hypothesizes it or makes a hypothetical, excuse me. But this idea that you could craft a society to be mindless and subservient by not giving them any purpose for what they're doing. Boy, that's very similar to what we're going to see when we study Anthem. Okay. One thing I want to show you, he talks about teachers who don't want their kids to be challenging them. I'm logging in to my email. Hopefully you didn't see any passwords, but I'm going to bring up a new email because I want to show you something here about my. Okay. If I hit compose, which I'm desperately trying to do, okay, doesn't look like I have anything too condemning on my email. I've got a great email from Lainey Irwin, who's already working on annotating stuff for her philosophy class, but it's not loading. It's not loading the new email thing. So what I'll have to do is I'll have to turn my screen here, and we'll just do it this way. Okay, you'll see here if you can. All right, okay, there we go. It's coming up. All right. If we are any good, we don't need to turn, so that's good. If we are any good, we must always be working toward the moment at which our pupils, our students, that's you, are fit to become our critics and rivals. I teach you writing the way I teach it because I want you to be a superb analytical and a superb critical and evaluative thinker. And I'm not afraid if you're going to be better than I am. I want you to be better than I am. I've had hundreds of students, I think, that are better writers, better thinkers, better analyzers, okay, better evaluators than I am. That is the goal of education, to turn you out of the darkness of ignorance towards the light of what it means to be a human being of intelligent understanding. And if you don't believe me, take out your agenda, because it's in the honor code. And that comes from Plato's allegory of the cave, but it's in the honor code. And that's the whole thing of what I wanted to do in this Screencastify, to see if I could actually use Screencastify. And it looks like I got a little bit going on the power of writing. So it's not anything that you won't hear the entire year for me. So let me see if I can figure out how to pause it and end the recording. And if you made it this far in your writing or in your viewing of my video, you must be having trouble going to sleep. Have a good night.